Hello everyone, this is Andrew here from Bracken Clockworks. I'm coming to you now with hopefully a new set of YouTube videos here. I'm gonna call them TikTok. I know, super original. But at any rate, so I have one topic that I want to talk about this time around, and it's called pricing. So there's two questions that I get asked quite commonly that I want to address here real quick. The first one is, why is it so expensive? And the second one is it worth repairing? So starting with why is it so expensive? Well, there's knowledge and experience that you require to be able to complete the service to a clock, whether it be an overhaul, just simple as cleaning it and putting some oil in it and throwing it back in the case and testing it. It sounds simple, but there's much more involved than you might think. It takes time. The other thing that comes into it is the difference of complexity and rarity. So that's how you get the range of different prices for certain types of clocks to be repaired. The time involved, as I mentioned already in the service, a lot of times there's many hours required, to do a service. Sometimes it can be as little as 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes it can be as high as 16 to 20 hours, depending on, what's involved with that particular service. What are the issues, essentially, is what it boils down to. The other thing that, that a lot of people in my profession will probably groan and bury their head in their hands a little bit, and that is the cost of the tools required to perform the work. You're talking thousands and thousands of dollars in tools if you want to effectively perform a repair. It's insane, the cost of these tools. But a lot of times you do need highly precision equipment or tools or instruments to be able to perform this as well. The other thing is more of a professional side of things, and that is overhead. You got to keep in mind these people are providing a service, so they have a space that they need to maintain, or that they have maybe a storefront that these people, the customers, like some of you will walk into. That all costs money, and there has to be some kind of way to pay for that. Well, owning a business, obviously the reason for that is to make money. So, that's that. So that's part of that as well. The last part of it that I want to touch on is the rarity of clockmakers and shops these days. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, since there's so few of you, you can just charge whatever you want. No, it's not really what it comes down to. The main thing as far as the rarity that we as professionals face is the backlog, the influx of work. I've read online where some people have upwards of 8 months of backlog. So what you do in that instance, if you start seeing a backlog that is traveling back to where you're getting close to that 1 year mark, now you have to start to address your pricing. Is it too low? If you have such a high demand for your service, then obviously you should be charging more. So that's all I have to say about that as far as expense. And feel free to comment below if you have any other questions or things to add, perhaps, if you're a fellow clockmaker. So the last question is it worth repairing? Well, there's several criteria that goes into that. You have your age, type, rarity, maker, country of manufacturer, complexity, materials used, what are they made out of? Sentimental value is the biggest reason that people have their clocks fixed. Their granny or their uncle or older relative of some sort had this clock, when they were little, and they heard it growing up, and it brings back a lot of memories, and I am all for bringing those memories back for people. I mean, there are many instances where I've performed repairs to clocks, handed them back to the customer, and the customer is just like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. This brings so many memories back of my fill in the blank person here. You see their faces light up, and it just, it really does make you feel pretty good about yourself. And for the customer too, that you've made them happy, and it's quite a remarkable experience. And also bringing something that wasn't working back to life, essentially. The other one that kind of goes along with that on the personal side of things is a personal fascination. If you are an absolute lover and collector of clocks and you don't care what it costs, you just want it fixed, That's fine too. I'm all for it. And again, not just because I can charge money to fix it, but I enjoy working on clocks. That's why I got into this. It's a lot of fun. But in the first set of this, I mentioned several other things like age, type, rarity. Again, all these things come into play for whether it's worth repairing. Now, on a personal note, most people who have a clock and they want it fixed, they don't even think. You just spit out a number. They don't even care. It's just, yep, go for it. Just do it. I don't care what it costs. But on the other side of things, if somebody finds a clock in the garbage and they bring it in, they're like, hey, I want to have this fixed so I can sell it. That doesn't work anymore. Unless you know how to work on them yourself, you're not going to make any money doing that. As a matter of fact, you're going to lose money because, say, your average kitchen clock, comes walking in the door, and you as the professional take a look at it and you go, well, it needs an overhaul. It needs springs, needs all the pivots polished, bushings. That'll cost you $500. And the customer goes, oh my God. Now, there are some exceptions to that, such as in the case of Atmos clocks. Now, Atmos clocks tend to retain their value. It's one of those where if you spend the, $500-$600, depending on, how much a person charges, usually you can recoup that and then some. Maybe not a lot of some, but you will certainly get ahead, in that aspect, but not by a lot. But it depends on which model of Atmos clock you're talking about as well. Some are worth, say $500. Some are worth upwards of $5,000, depending on if it was a limited edition or something of that sort. Some are worth even more than that. Brand new ones on average sell for like between $13,000 and $16,000. So there's a good comparative number for you. So at any rate, just kind of bringing this all back to the conclusion of this here, because I'm trying to keep this short. What are your thoughts on this? I know that there's just a lot of taboo in a way about pricing. There's a lot of factors that come into play there. It's certainly an interesting skill. It's a rare skill, but it does require other skills that kind of come together to form this conglomerate that is clockmaking or watchmaking or any kind of horological, kind of thing. I do have one question for you all. Do you think that clockmaking or watchmaking is a dying industry, or is it a growing industry? I'll let you answer below in the comments on that one. But personally, I tend to think that it's both. I'm not going to elaborate on that just yet, maybe in a later video. And coming back to, is it worth repairing? A lot of people that ask me that question, 9 times out of 10, I have one singular answer, and I say, it's up to you. What is the clock worth to you? So that's the end of this video. I hope everybody has a good evening and a great day and a great week and a great holiday. Enjoy it. Spend time with family and friends. Take care now. Bye-bye.